Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 9, beginning from verse number 36. These are prayers of Devas to the Lord after he appeared. So they prayed in the previous verses that, Lord, it is difficult to understand the activities of the Lord because he is without any shelter. And yet he creates, he is beyond the gunas, and yet he is the propagator of the material world, which is full of gunas. And although he is the cause, he does not undergo any modifications. So this is difficult to understand. And then it says that we cannot understand whether when you come here in the material world, you are under the law of karma or you are just a witness to all these things. So they continue in the same way in the next verse. It says, Nahi virodha ubhaya bhagavati apariganit guna gane ishware अनवगाह्य महात्म्य अर्वाचीन विकल्प वितर्क विचार प्रमाण भास कुतर्क शास्त्र कले अंतःकरण आश्रय दुर्बुद्ध वादिनाम विवादन अवसरे उपरत समस्त मायामय केवल एव आत्म माया अंतर्धाय कौन वर्थ दुर्घटय भवति स्वरूप द्वया भवति. So although in the previous verse they gave the possibility, two possibilities, but now they say that actually you do not have two different swarupas, you are one, and you can perform both of these two things without any contradiction. Nahi virodha ubhaya bhagavati. Why is that you can do it? Because you are Swam Bhagavan, you are the Supreme Lord, which means you have these abilities. One of the quality of God is that he can have contradictory characteristics. So it is said, Tadajati Tanajati Tadure Tadvantati, that he moves and at the same time does not move. He is near and he is far. So usually such things are not possible, they are not within our experience. But because he is Bhagavan, then he can do such things. And what does it mean? He said, apariganit gunagani. That you have unlimited qualities. And you are Ishvara, you are Supreme Controller. Anavgahya Mahatma. Your glories, they cannot be counted. It is not possible to gauge them or find the limit of them. And you are supremely powerful. So he said that modern people, they have various types of illogic, utarka, and make various types of argument and give some proof of what they say. And this is because their hearts are not pure. So pramana bhasa kutarka shastra kalina antakarana cha ashvaya durabha vadinam. So they come up with different ideas which are not proper. So they cannot understand your reality, therefore they argue with each other. But in you there is no such possibility, because you are situated in your own power, yoga maya, and with that yoga maya there is nothing which you cannot perform, you can do everything, which looks even impossible to ordinary mind. You can do it. So there is a very long commentary tasya pariharama nahi. So in the previous verse he described contradiction. Because contradiction was that you don't have any shelter and you create. Because to create you need some support, some shelter somewhere. And you are beyond the gunas and yet to create the natural world. And there also it was said that only devotees can understand you. So now he says that this is the opinion of the devotees. Nahi iti viruddhyate iti virodha. So there is no contradiction in you. Ubhayam atmaramatvam aprakrit sukh dukhitvam chatvai viruddham ityartha. So you are Atmarama, you are self-satisfied, and at the same time you experience happiness and distress. So that appears to be contradictory. Because a person who is Atmarama is completely happy, satisfied. There is no question of suffering. So it says this. It is possible because this happiness and distress, they are not material. Nahi anya drishtantena tvai vikalpo yujjate. It says that by giving material examples you cannot prove anything about God. Many times people try to prove something just by giving an example. But example cannot prove or disprove anything. Example is not to make some Siddhantic conclusion. Example is there only to understand something which is already stated. So he therefore says that in case of Lord, no other example is possible. Atarki ashwaryatvat avirodhe hetuna. Because he is beyond everything. So you can give one example and prove one thing, and somebody can give another example and disprove it. That's why in the Vedanta Sutra it is said that tarka pratisthana. You cannot understand the Lord by mere tarka, by mere logic. But he is beyond logic. He is supralogical. So he says because he has this power of being beyond logic, then everything can be reconciled. Things which seem to be contradicting each other, they can be reconciled. For that he speaks here in different forms. So number one, he says Bhagavat. He analyzes every word. So first thing he says that you are Bhagavan. Prathmam sukh dukhitvam bhagavati ityadi padadvayena. So first he explains by these two words Bhagavati and Apariganita Gunagani. So Bhagavan means who has certain power. Even if people think God has no form. And some people even say he has no power. Because he has no form and no quality, then where is the power? So, but the very word Bhagavan means who has got 6 types of opulences: Jnana, Shakti, Bala, Aishwarya, Virya, Teja, Sheshata, Bhagavat Shabda Vachami, Vinahiye, Gunadhi. So he says, this is from Vishnu Purana, that Bhagavan is that who has knowledge, complete knowledge. He has Shakti. He has full power. So power, different words are used here, Shakti and Bala. Bala also means strength. So physical strength, mental strength, strength of the senses, and Aishwarya. Aishwarya means controlling feature. He controls everything. And Virya is mental power, tendency, he has his influence. So he has these things incomplete, means more than anyone else. Nobody can have the amount of power. Therefore he is called Atulya, that no one is equal to him, no one is more than him. So, and he does not have any heya gunas or bad qualities, rejectable qualities. Everything is good. Iti Vaishnavokter aprakrit jnanadi षडैश्वर्यत्वेन ज्ञानमूलकं सर्वमेव प्राकृतं सुख दुःखं त्वयि नास्ति इति अवगतम्. So because he has first quality is that he is situated in knowledge. He does not have ignorance, jnana, vidya. And the material happiness and material suffering, this comes because of avidya, ignorance. People are suffering only because of ignorance. Although in English they say that ignorance is bliss, but ignorance is not bliss, ignorance is suffering. Avidya or ignorance is the root cause of all suffering, and also the root cause of all happiness here in the material world. This material happiness is also ignorance, because when you analyze it, then there is no happiness. It is only because of ignorance one makes this distinction between happiness and suffering. So therefore anything which gives you happiness, it also gives you suffering. It can change any time. So these gunas can change. If you like some food, the suffering also comes from the same, happiness from the same. Because these are two sides of the same coin. The same person who gives you happiness also gives you suffering. So all the material suffering and material happiness, they are all rooted in ignorance, avidya. And because Lord is free from avidya, ignorance, therefore he does not have this. He neither has material happiness, nor he has material suffering. So this happiness which he has is a different type. So it says, Nanu tarhi anye sukh dukhe mai kutasya tatrahu apariganit gunanam. So then Lord is saying that you are saying that I don't have material happiness, material suffering, but I have happiness and suffering. So that is another type. So then from where is it coming? What is the source of my happiness? So for that the Devas are saying apariganita gunagani. That you have unlimited qualities. No one can count them. So prem vashyatva bhakta vatsalyat adinam gana yasmin. That you have qualities that you become controlled by love. So Lord is the controller, but he is also controlled by love. And Bhakta Vatsalya, he is very affectionate to his devotees. So these are two of his very important qualities. The other qualities are actually subservient to all these qualities. And all the qualities are guided by these qualities. So, tena hi asura rakshasa adibhyastvad bhaktanam prahlad vibhishanadinam pandava yadavadinam nitya parshadanam sadhaka bhaktanam api anantanam bhakta bhasanam asmadai devanam cha kashte vritte sati tattad dushta sanharartham vivid prayas vyapita. Satvadiya dukkhasya tatha teshameva tattat vipada uttirnanam agraha jajolyaman sasyanam kadindini vishyamanam amrit siktanam vivalabh bhavad darshanam param sukhe vritte sati adbhutasya tad sukhasya cha bhaktavatsalya prem vishakse ek nidanatvad prakrate vritte sati. So he is explaining that the pleasure which Lord feels and distress which he feels, they are of different quality, they are aprakrita, they are not material. And how does he feel them? He says that when devotees like Prahlad or Vibhishana, they are troubled by Asuras and Rakshasas, or his eternal associates Pandavas, Yadavas, or even Sadhak Bhaktas, which are unlimited, or they are saying that also somebody who look like devotees like us, the Devas themselves, so we are not even Bhaktas, we just resemble Bhaktas, Bhaktavas. Asmadadi Devanam cha kashta vritte, when there is a problem on such devotees, from Asuras, from Daityas, then to kill those Asuras or Daityas, you engage in various types of activities, endeavor, and that may be troublesome for them. Tadiya dukkhasya tatha teshameva. And when they transcend that trouble and they become free from that problem, agraha jajolyaman sasyanam. So just like it is like a rain coming on a crop which was drying up because of the drought. And then how the crop becomes green. So these devotees, they feel very happy. So then you also become very happy at that time. In other words, you feel some suffering when you see your devotees are suffering, and you feel very happy when you see that your devotees are happy. So therefore your happiness and your suffering is only because of Bhaktavatsalya, only because of your affection for your devotees, and only because you are under the control of the Lord. So in other words, the experience of happiness which Krishna or God has, that is not because of some sense objects. But it is only because of his love towards his devotees. And that love only gives him happiness. And if he sees that his devotees are suffering, then he feels also pain. So that suffering is also out of love and not because of some material situation. So in that sense he says that your happiness and your distress, they are not material. In the material world we feel happy and distress if something happens to us. If there is a problem in my body, if I fall sick, or somebody abuses me, or gets angry at me, or thinks harshly, then I suffer. And if somebody praises me or gives me some gift, or I get some sense object, then I am happy. So in case of love, happiness comes when the beloved is happy. And suffering also comes when the beloved is not happy. So that happiness and suffering therefore is the product of prema, love, not of any karma or any material changes in the gunas. So Therefore he says, Kincha sukha dukkha apite chinmaya sukha rupa eva. So this happiness and this distress, they are also spiritual. We don't have an experience of this. Our experience is only material. Our experience is of material things. So therefore we mistake that when a devotee is enjoying or devotee is suffering, then he is also suffering or enjoying like us. That's not true. Premani chit shakti sarvrittitva. Why? Because prema or love is the essence of spiritual energy. And because it is the essence of spiritual energy, therefore what comes out of it is only spiritual. So even its suffering is spiritual. Kim punar vraj devyadinam vedehyascha sambhog vipralam bhajanite sukha dukkhe tetu prem param kastham yatvat param sukha rupe eva. He says, what to speak of the great devotees, the gopis of Braja, Vrindavan, and Sita, wife of Lord Ramachandra. He says when they experienced happiness in association with Krishna, or Sita in association with Lord Ram, or when they experienced suffering due to separation from Krishna or Lord Ram, so that is the ultimate limit of prema. So they have so much love. And therefore their happiness or their suffering is completely transcendental. It has nothing to do with material suffering or material enjoyment. It may look like that. That is because of their love for Krishna, they feel like it. So therefore he said that param sukha rupe evasta. They are supremely transcendental. So therefore when they are feeling separation and appears that they are suffering, that is also not suffering. That is also enjoyment. That is also pleasure. Just as in the material world, the happiness is also suffering. And happiness is actually the cause of suffering. Every happiness leads to suffering in the material world. You will not recognize it, but that is a fact. So in the material world it is sarvam dukkha eva vivekim. So in the same way, in the spiritual world, or in the case of the Lord and His devotees, this suffering is also happiness. There is no suffering. What appears to be suffering, it only appears like that. That is also bliss. So therefore they have two ways of enjoying. One is by being happy and one is by suffering. Just as in the material world there are two ways of suffering. One is by being happy, another is by suffering. So both are suffering. So that's why the devotees, they don't try to do social welfare. Many times this question is raised, that why the Vaishnavas don't work for social welfare. Because they understand. Real yogis, devotees who understand Vedantis, they actually don't do. This social welfare thing comes when you don't understand the higher things. And they engage in social welfare and people like that very much. So if you, now spiritualists are also trying to do social welfare. But if you go back in history, even 50 years ago, you will not find any spiritualist doing any social, except in other religions, Christianity, a lot of social welfare. But if you see in Hinduism, You don't see that great Vaishnavas were doing any social welfare. Kings were doing their duty, others people have to do, but spiritualists were not doing it. So the reason for this is that they understood the Siddhanta. And this so-called social welfare is also suffering. So why make them suffer? The real welfare is to give this transcendental knowledge and uplift your consciousness so that you will enjoy even when you are suffering. Otherwise, even when you are so-called enjoying, you are suffering. So why do it? But common people cannot understand it. It's difficult to understand. So tataschit swarupasya tav chit swarupayo sukha dukkhayo ramamanasya aramatvam sukha dukkhavatvam ekyadi viruddham eva pratipadi. So therefore he says that you are chit swarupa, you are a spiritual person, you are transcendental. And therefore your happiness and your suffering is also transcendental. And this is how you are enjoying. So he says sukh dukkhavatvam ekyad aviruddham eva pratipadi. So he says therefore your happiness and your suffering is one. They are not contradictory to each other. In Bhagavatam there is this interesting incident. Raslila. And when Krishna was with the gopis and everybody was very happy, enjoying dancing, music, and then suddenly Krishna disappeared. And then he came again. So he was asked this question that why you did that? So he gave reason, because it seems he is making them suffer. So how is it possible that if he loves them, that he makes them suffer? This was difficult to understand. So his answer was very interesting. And the essence of his answer was that I am not a person who reciprocates because you do good to me, I good to you. I am also not a kritagna that you do good to me and I will not reciprocate. So bhajato anu bhajanti eka viparayam no bhyansa bhajanti eka the gopis ask him that there are some people, if you do good to them, they reciprocate, they will do good to you. Which is seen. And then he says there are other type of people, that you good to them, they don't care. And there are others who are no vyansa bhajanti eka etadano bruhi sadhu. And then there is the third characteristic, that you do good to them and they harm you. So he says, which category do you fall in this? So Krishna actually says that I am none of them. He says, Naham sakyotu bhastopi jantum bhajami ishamanu vritta vritte yatha dhano labdha dhane vinashte tachintyan nimbrito navi. He says, I am a person who does not, if you serve me, I don't serve you back. Because gopis were happy and playing and disappeared. So for the reason for that he said was that when I disappear, then you are like a person who lost wealth. Yatha labdha dhane vinashte. Suppose you get a lottery, you get a lot of money, but then next day somebody steals it. So you feel quite miserable. And then you are completely thinking of the money only. So he says, that's what I did. That I was with you, then I disappeared, and by disappearing, you became more absorbed in me. And that is a big pleasure. So externally it appeared as suffering, but internally they were relishing. Because when he was physically present with them, he was seen in one place. But when he disappeared, then they saw him everywhere. So there is a word yoga means union and viyoga means separation. But viyoga also means vishesh yoga, special union. Externally there is separation, internally there is union. So therefore there is enjoyment in both cases. And that's what he is saying. This is special. Sukh dukkha akyat viruddham. This sukha and dukkha, this happiness and suffering, it is one. And therefore there is no contradiction. So he said that there is no virodha. That's how this sentence became nahi virodha ubhe. That in these two things there is no virodha, there is no contradiction. But it's only one, it appears to. So that's why it is said that in Lord there are no dualities, or in the spiritual world there are no dualities. Everything is only prema or love. Nanu evam kairapi darshanikair naham nirupye tathatu vishwa. So when someone is explaining like this, then Lord he gives a refutation. He says, what you are saying, no philosopher has explained it like this. But mostly you hear that God is all pervading, has no form, no qualities, he is above everything. But you don't hear that he feels happy or he feels distressed or peace. So he says, no philosopher has spoken like this. So then they say Ishvara. So he says, because you are Ishvara, Ishvara tvai ishitavya nam tesham nirupana yogita yuktaya. You are Ishvara means you are the controller. And therefore you are controlling them. And if you don't give them the power, then they cannot describe. In other words, to understand Lord in this way is possible only by His grace. And if He is not giving the grace, then you don't understand. So there are so many spiritualists. So they have some concept of God. But this type of understanding is very rare. So he says, Isitavyanam tesham nirupana yogita. Yato anavgahiyam. Why? Because another word they say you are anavgahiyam. Avgahan means to dip yourself, like you jump into a swimming pool. So anavgahiyam is not possible to go inside. Because to know something you have to enter in it. If you want to know what is inside the pool, then you have to dive into it. So he says it's not possible to dive into it. So therefore he says Bhakti aham ekya grahya iti padvachanat tesham bhakti hina nam avgahan anaraham. So Krishna says in Bhagavatam that Bhaktya aham ekya grahya, that I am known only by pure love. Only by pure love. Therefore those who are not devotees, Jnanis, Sannyasis, Yogis, Karmis, they cannot understand. It is not possible because He does not reveal Himself to them. Why should He reveal to them? They are not interested in Him. So therefore such understanding of Bhagavan is not possible to them. So whatever they know, they understand something from the periphery, but they don't go inside. Like you can go to a swimming pool and see it from outside, or you can go to the ocean and stand on the beach. So you can also say, I know what is ocean, right? I have seen the ocean, I know, I am ocean realized. But actually you don't know what is inside. So devotees are those who are not standing on the beach, but who are doing scuba diving. So they know what is inside. So they will also say that I know the ocean. And the jnanis are like those who are standing on the shore. They also know, but they are realizing that yes, something big, without any variety or quality. So that is there. The devotees, they know inside. So that is the meaning of anavgahya. I am not able to dive into it. Because that diving is possible when one has love. When you love somebody, then you go deep into that person, right? Otherwise you have no interest. Somebody comes here, goes, I ask you, do you love that person? But if you love that person, then you will not avoid or neglect him. So it is through love that you dive into the other person. Otherwise you remain indifferent. So therefore Krishna himself said that I am known through bhakti only. Nanu yusmat pratipaditanam sad aishwaryanam premnascha chinmayatve tair bhavya eva anupapatya udgrihyante tatra. So now Lord is saying that you have propounded that I have 6 types of qualities in me, Aishwaryas, and I have prema, love, and that is chinmaya, spiritual, transcendental. He says, but there are so many people who speak against it. Right? They try to say that the reality is nirguna, nirakar, chidghan, pratyeka, bhum, chaitanya, these types of statements. So they say that there is actually no God. It's all happening by nature, the law of nature. So for that they are saying, yes, these are the people who are arvachina, modern people. Vastu, swarupa, asansa, sparsina. They have no contact with the reality. They don't understand the truth. So they are just on the periphery. They are not on the shore of the ocean. They are beyond, they are away from that. They don't even know. So therefore they say that Vastu Swarupa Asansa Parashina, that they don't have the faintest idea about the reality. So Vikalpadayo Yeshu Shastreshu, therefore they study Shastra in which there are various types of arguments given. And Tai Kalilam Vyakulam Vedanta Karnamasa. Therefore their minds are disturbed by that. Tatra asherate sadeva shaitva tishtanti. So they are sleeping in these shastras. Means they keep on studying, arguing, counter-arguing, without any conclusion. Ye duragraha staireva vadinam nana vado daya udgrahatam. So they are the one who have duragraha. They are very obstinate people. Try to tell them, they will not listen to you. They will come up with argument argument after argument. So they think that simply by their rational mind they can grasp the absolute reality. But it is not possible because mind is limited. Our mind has a very limited capacity. We may think that we are very intelligent, but if you know the absolute, how great it is, our mind is very, very limited. It's very little. So how much can you understand with this? How much can you understand with your logic? And what about things which defy logic? How will you know them with your rational mind? So this becomes irrational then. Because if you have a rational mind, then you should use your rational mind to think that there are things which are beyond rational mind. That is a good use of rationality. Otherwise you are stuck with your rational mind. That becomes your condition and you will never get out of it. So if you are actually a rational thinker, then you should also think rationally that there can be things which are beyond rational, beyond logic. Otherwise your rationality only makes you irrational. So this is what these people are called Nanavad. They start different schools of philosophy. There are so many philosophers now, also in the past, in the West. So they are stuck in their own speculations of the mind, basically. It's just mind speculates something and it weaves some system, and then they are caught in their own network. So they feel satisfied with that, but that does not mean that they know reality. So vivadasya anavashare agochare tatra vikalpa evam va iti akarana. He says that Lord is actually agochara, it is unapproachable to such arguments. And therefore you can come up with ideas, evam va evam, it is like this, it is like this. Some people talk about Manuvad, talk of Sandarvad, Sunyavad, Vijnanvad, all kinds of vadas are there. So they keep on making vitarkas, basically gases, but none of them can be very certain. Imatra yuktam iti anishchay. They are unable to determine what is it real. Vicharaitham evati nishchay. So they only have vichar, thought. That's all. Tatra pramana bhasha kutsita tarkari. And then they give some pramana. Pramana means proof or the means for valid knowledge. But it says that actually it is not a pramana, it only looks like that. Because logic is not the ultimate pramana. Logic can always refute. You can always find a superior argument for any argument. There is no argument which cannot be refuted. I think 16th century, I forget his name. He gave 16 formulas and said that if you can understand this, you can refute anything or you can prove anything. He gave 16 formulas. So very interesting. Nanu anupattau satyam name is not coming. Nanu anupatto satyam kuto vivada bhavas tatra. So he says, if it is not possible to come to any conclusion, then there will always be a dialogue, always some debate, argument will go on. So he said, Uparata samasta maya maya mayika padartha yatra tasmiti vivadadina maya shakti karyatvat tautu maya mayik padartha trikt vastutvat kuto vivad prasakti. So what is the end of this? He says, the end comes only in the Lord. Parata samasta maya maye. Because Lord is free from all maya. Because all these arguments and counter arguments, this is also part of maya, of this material nature. Because all the padarthas, all the objects, Dravya Gunka, Samanya Uche, Samvaya, Sat Padartha, this is all part of maya. So they will, that vivad, that argument, counter argument will keep on, it will continue because it is maya shakti kari. It is the product of material energy, maya. But Lord, he says, you are maya mayik padarth atirikta vastuta. You are beyond maya and beyond all the products of maya. Therefore, there is no argument in you. Once you understand, then all arguments come to an end. Nanu tadapi yusmat sahayartham samudra manthanadu Pandav sahayartham Sarathya Dautyadu Yadav Palanartham Jarasandhadi Upadravotha Bhaya Palayanadu Karmani Pratakshate eva sarvai Drishyamanam Madhya Dukkham Katham Chinmaya Sukrupam Bhavet. So he is presenting this commentary as if Devas are saying something and the Lord is proposing a counter argument. So he says that you are speaking all these things. So how do I understand this? Because he says you have seen myself that I helped you in churning of the ocean. Right? So Lord, he helped Devas in churning the ocean from where the Amrita came. And then he says, Pandav Sahayartham. He says, I helped the Pandavas. I drove the chariot of Arjuna. I became their messenger. I did all these activities. And Yadav Palanartham. I protected the Yadavas. Dantavakra and all these people were attacking. So he fought with them. Jarasandha. Jarasandhadi Upadravotha Bhaya Palayanadu. Jarasandha, he attacked Mathura 17 times, Krishna fought. And 18 times he said, I ran away out of fear. And he was a great athlete. He was drinking cow's milk. So he ran all the way from here. People talk about marathon. Krishna is the first one to run a marathon. Because he ran from Mathura all the way to Gujarat. So marathon, I don't know how many kilometers is marathon?
I think 48.
48, 49 something. Right? So he ran few hundred kilometers. He is the grandfather of marathon runners. And he did not stop even to drink water. Kept on running and running and running. So these days they run, then at least somebody is with them to give them water to drink. So he ran marathon. You can imagine how troublesome is that. Especially in India when it is hot. In the cold season it's alright. You won't sweat so much. But here you sweat even without running. Not to speak, when you run you need water. And you get tired, and he was running without shoes. Because this Adi Dasa has not come into existence. later on. So he went barefoot. So therefore he says that, he says, you have seen me directly doing all these things. Pratakshate sarvai drishyamani. Everybody saw this. So madhya dukkham katham chinmaya. He says, how do you say that my suffering is transcendent? If you run 100 meters, you start panting. And after some time, maybe your right side starts aching. You run too much. And then you can faint. So he says, I did all these things. Driving chariot is not a joke in the battlefield. It may be fun outside. Going on the road, you have nice horses. So you can have a nice ride. But try to drive it when there are 2,000 people shooting arrows at you. You better save your head. So he said, you saw all these things I did. He went as a messenger, and this Duryodhana was trying to catch him and bind him with the ropes and put him in a cell. Somehow Krishna escaped, otherwise imagine he would be there without food and water. And then no one can appeal because there was no this. They have this court. You can appeal in the international court. So if something happened in the past, there was no such thing. So he says that you saw me suffering. So how you say that my suffering is chinmaya, is transcendental. Sukhrupam bhavet. And then you are saying that, oh, this suffering was enjoyment. And that's when they said that Lord's suffering is also pleasure. Devotees are suffering, but are enjoying. So don't become passionate on me. So he says, what are you talking? So then the answer is given that kevala eva. Kevala eva maya mayam antardhaya. That you are actually situated in your Atma Maya. Tvai Maya Shakti Vina Bhute Sati Eva ya Atma Maya Achintya Yoga Maya. So there are two types of Maya. One is called Mahamaya, the material Maya, and then is the Yoga Maya. That is the spiritual Maya. So Lord is also having his own Maya in which he is working with his devotees, but that is not this Maya, Durga, Devi. That is spiritual. And he also arranges Krishna's activities which look like he is suffering or he is having some trouble, but it's not really. So therefore it is called Achintya Yoga Maya. That Maya is inconceivable. This Maya is also inconceivable. But that is Maha inconceivable. So tam antardhaya madhya kritva konu artho durghata iti tvadanubhave sukmayeka praveshtum sukmayat. He says that because of that yoga maya, you do all these things. It seems as if you are suffering, but actually you are enjoying. Because no suffering can actually contact you. Why? Because you are sukhmaya. Your very swarupa, your very nature is bliss. It's like if you have a sugar candy, it cannot be salty. When it is made of sugar, how can it taste salty? Its very nature. How can sugar taste salty? If it is tasting salty, it is not sugar. So Lord is blissful. He is made of bliss. It's like the candy is made from sugar. So he cannot have suffering. If he is having suffering, he is not the Lord. Because his swarupa, his very constitution is happiness. Means whatever he does, it's only bliss. So he said, Natra pratakshali pramanam pravatati. He said, in this regard, this prataksh praman does not work. means you see him, because Krishna was also crying sometimes. His mother was chastising, he was telling, he was fearing. Kunti was praying to Krishna. He was in Hastinapura and then he was leaving back to Dwarka. She was remembering, he said, I cannot understand that you are fearing. Even the fear personified fears you, but you are afraid of your mother. So this is difficult to understand. So therefore, he cannot be understood by Pratyaksha Pramana, he can be understood only from Shastra. So this is the explanation of this verse, very nice commentary. So I will stop the question.
The experience of this transcendental sukha and dukkha is, for the devotee, is only available if he is on prema bhakta, or is it also in the category of atma ramas, or is it even experienced to some degree by a sadhaka?
Yeah, it depends how much internal potency one has acquired. Accordingly, one will experience.
So there can be a mixture of both. Or let's say in the Shanta Bhakta, who is not really having.
That there only the level or intensity will be different, but they are not having any material suffering. Their experiences are also transcendental. Only the intensity will be different.
So according to the level one approaches transcendence, the experience of the transcendental sukha and dukkha
will be intense, more intense.
So how does a sadhana, if he has some experience or an experience to some degree of transcendental sukha and dukkha, how do we actually know that this is coming from Krishna, or that this is transcendental, or this is material?
Well, when one is, if one has attained perfection, if one is still living in the material body, then one's consciousness changes. When we are identifying with the material body, because of that identification we experience material pain and material pleasure. That's what we experience. When we have gone beyond that, we are situated in the prema, Bhagavatam, then the consciousness is working only on that level. So then that suffering is also in relationship with devotion. But then your emotions change. Now in the conditioned state, our emotions are in relationship with the physical body. But we identify with it. When one becomes a devotee, then the emotions are in relationship with the Lord, the devotion, the Bhakti, with Seva. It becomes different.
I also have a question regarding, in the beginning you were saying that the Vaishnavas are not concerned with the material suffering of the jivas.
No, I said doing material welfare.
Material
They are
welfare.
concerned with suffering, that's why they want to give a solution. But they don't give a solution which is material.
So when it's said in the 3rd chapter of the Gita that the devotee is the friend of all living entities and is compassionate to all living entities, or in the 3rd canto I think it is said.
Sarvam Bhutatam
Yeah,
Bhutatam.
Sadhu is the friend of all living entities. So he sees the